Hi, I'm Tom Ziegler. Welcome to the Ziegler Legacy Series. I tell you what, I am so excited about today. I had the honor and the privilege and really the blessing to sit down with Nick Vujicic several months ago. He has an incredible, amazing story. He's part of our Ziegler Legacy Series, and for those of you who this is our first time to join us, let me just tell you about our series. We have some incredible people coming up, people who've been inspired by Dad, people who are out making a difference in the world, all over the world. As you'll learn from our interview with Nick, he's been to over 44 different countries, probably more than that by now, carrying on a message of hope and encouragement. But on our series, we're going to have people like Brian Tracy, Dan Cathy, the CEO of Chick-fil-A, Seth Godin, Dave Ramsey. These are just a few of the names that are coming your way. Well, as we talk about Nick and as we bring him on, I first wanted to give everybody in our audience, some of you may not have heard of Nick before, I wanted to show you a quick video. This video really gives a background of Nick's life and what it's like in a day as he travels all over making a difference. So if you would, please enjoy this short video, and then I'll be back for a second, and we'll get into the interview with Nick. So go ahead and watch this video.
I wasn't ready.
I have no arms and no legs, but I'm very thankful that I have my little chicken drumstick here. People freak out when they see me for the first time. It's so cool. I was at a water slide all by myself. Everyone obviously at the bottom of the slide is looking up and waiting for other people to come down, and here I come and they're freaking out. They're like, you know, like this. And I was so tempted to look at myself and go, what happened? You know? And there were times where I sort of looked at my life and thinking, well, I can't do this and I can't do that. And you keep on concentrating on the things that you wish you had or the things that you wish you didn't have. And you sort of forget what you do have. And there's no point, I believe, in my life where I wish I had arms and legs, I wish I had arms and legs, I wish I had arms and legs, because wishing won't help. But what I've seen in life are just a couple key principles, and the first thing that I've seen is to be thankful. It's hard to be thankful, man. I tell you, when I was 8 years old, I sort of summed up my life and thought, I'm never going to get married, I'm not going to have a job, I'm not going to have a life of purpose. What kind of a husband am I going to be if I can't even hold my wife's hand? It's a lie to think that you're not good enough. It's a lie to think that you're not worth anything.
Oh boy. Woo! It's freezing, I can't feel my hands.
I love life. You know, so many people come and say, how come you smile so much? And I'm like, well, it's a long story. But it's very simple at the same time. You see, it's very hard to smile sometimes in life. There are things that happen that you don't know and you don't understand, and you don't know if you're going to get through it. You know, you go through your storms in life and you don't know how long this storm is going to be. And today I want to share with you some principles that I've learned in my life that you can use in yours. Being patient is beautiful. I tell you, it's the hardest thing. But I realize I may not have hands to hold my wife's hand, but when the time comes, I'll be able to hold her heart. I don't need hands to hold her heart.
You know, it is scary to know how many girls have eating disorders. It is scary to know how many people are just angry at life because of their situation at home and angry at others. It's scary to know how many people actually feel like they're worth nothing. Every single girl right here, right now, I want you to know that you are beautiful. You are gorgeous just the way you are. And you boys, you're the man.
On this DVD, I share my experiences in life of how I've overcome challenges and seen a new, fresh perspective in life. to be thankful, to dream big, and to never give up. I speak to children, youth, and adults about key issues and principles that I've applied in my life that has given me the strength to conquer all that comes before me.
Video dozens of times. It always inspires me. It always makes me think of all the things that I have to be thankful and grateful for. The first time we met Nick, he came over to the office. This was about 4.5 years ago. He wanted to meet Dad. And I have to tell you this, there's something about him. He filled our office with love in a way that I can't even explain. And one of the things as I watched is how he interacted is, you know, when you meet somebody like Nick, his personality is so big and yet you don't know how to interact. He walks in, or actually he rolls in because he's got this really cool setup, and people would come up to him and he'd say, "Hey mate, give me a hug." And that just really expresses what he's all about. During the first time that I met him, I said, "Nick, you know, I know Dad's had an impact. Thank you so much for coming here. What you are doing is amazing. Nick, what is your core message?" And without blinking an eye, and actually with a twinkle in his eye, he said, "Tom, my message is this: God loves you just the way you are." I hope you enjoy the next little bit, our interview. It's about 15 minutes long, and I asked Nick questions and the 5 most important things that somebody could do to be successful. And I think you'll hear his heart and his experience, because he's been down a journey and on a road and on a path that many of us will never understand. But Nick is the first person to say that even though his path is unique and different and hard in some ways, your path is too. Everybody has challenges. Everybody comes from different situations. But I hope you learn and see from Nick's example about how hope is available to you and how you can take this inspiration and these ideas and take your own personal life to the next level. So let's go ahead and let's watch this interview with Nick. Hi, I'm Tom Ziglar. I'm the proud son of Zig Ziglar. We've got Nick Vujicic here, and we're doing the Ziglar Legacy Series. And Nick, you came to our office, what, a couple of years ago the first time?
That's right, 3-4 years ago.
Yeah, God, time goes fast.
Yeah, it does.
And you came in and you just said, you know, I want to meet Zig. So tell us about how Dad had an impact in your life early on.
You know, in 2002, I went to a conference in Australia, and he was speaking. And it was the very first time that I saw how much of a deep art communicating is. And it just thrilled my heart. And I love personally as a speaker as well, wanting to perfect more and more just how I can package a message of hope. But I actually wasn't a speaker at that year. It was actually inspired by speakers like Zig Ziglar, but his passion was just off the charts. His presence, his pace, his pitch, he was just a master of communicating. And I was like, wow, like out of all the gifts that human beings can have here on this earth, is to communicate love. And no matter what he talked about, it was always done in a very loving way, always encouraging. There was an underlayer of just, it just inspired me. It's like, you know what? There is so much more to communicating a message of hope than I ever had thought. And so I was inspired by him and the books, definitely the leadership principles that he brought. I also just loved how he always was a great guy of integrity, how he balanced motivational yet still bring in a lot of layers of his faith. And that was something that I was really curious how one could balance such a thing, and I'd never met anybody else like that.
You know, I call that Dad's secret weapon, is whenever he would speak the truth in love.
Yep.
And when you bring hope, or when you bring truth or wisdom to someone and you don't bring it with love, it falls void.
Yep.
Right? It may be inspirational for a moment, but it doesn't stick with you. And so now you're traveling all over the world. In fact, I heard somebody say that you get like 30,000 speaking requests.
We have that on file. We get about a couple thousand a year all around the world. So now I'm traveling all around the world. I've done 44 countries, 2,000 speaking engagements. And one of the most favorite quotes I'll always have in my heart is aim your goals to the heavens, so if they miss, they're still up there with the stars. And that was a quote that really gave me the umph when I was starting my speaking career, when my parents actually didn't like my dream of being a speaker, just to go to school, go to university, get your accounting and financial planning degree, do real estate, do stock market, but what's this speaking thing? Like, what? Like, that's just a passing hobby, right? Yeah. And it just grew and grew, and my passion was stemmed from an experience where I was in front of 300 sophomore students, and I was speaking for about 7 minutes, and I was really nervous. My palms were sweating, my knees were shaking, and half the girls were crying, and one girl in the middle of the room started weeping. And she put up her hand and she said, "I'm so sorry, can I come up there and give you a hug?" And in front of everybody, she came and she hugged me and she said, "Thank you, thank you, thank you. No one's ever told me that they love me. No one's ever told me that I'm beautiful the way that I am." And from that day on,
Wow.
I knew that I was to be a speaker. Now, that was 7 weeks after I heard Zig speak. And so that was just really cool time. So I'm like, you know, wow, I'm really being prepared for a greater purpose as a speaker.
Wow. So what is the number one need that you see in your audience? Because you speak to young people, many school groups.
All sorts.
Today you spoke to a group of 3,000 or so coaches from all over Texas.
Yep.
But you speak all over the world. What's the number one need, regardless of age or whatever, that you see?
Look, from orphans and sex slaves to presidents, 7 presidents and 5 congresses of nations around the world, just from all different demographics and cultures, hope is what everyone's looking for. Everyone needs it. Everyone feels like we need to come to this place where we can actually take a breath and say, I've made it, you know, but no one ever gets there in this life, because life is not meant to be that. It's supposed to be a journey, and you don't finish your journey until you finish your journey. If you stop growing today, you'll never reach your full potential. And so that's the mindset I want everybody to know. It's just exciting, the life of ups and downs and failures being education and growing from them and moving forward. But it's just been an awesome ride to see that no matter who we are, no matter what we have, no matter what we don't have, we're all looking for hope. Now, what does that look for? What does that look like? In 3 categories, I put it down to the truth of who you are, your value, the truth of your purpose, and the truth of your destiny. We're not just talking about teenagers who are troubled, you know, with all these media and all these false sort of lines of what's happiness and what's not, and what's pretty and what's not. Even as adults, we have our insecurities. Right. And so I think on every level, we're looking for hope, but we're looking really for the truth. The truth that I am worth something, the truth that I do have a purpose, and I can reach my destiny and my full potential.
You know, Dad's secret on that is he knew who he was, but even more importantly, he knew whose he was. Right, so he has an eternal hope. So, you know, there's so many people here. Some of them know Ziglar, some of them know who you are, but we all want to know, because, you know, your journey's been different. And C.S. Lewis says that the reason life is tough is we were never meant for this world. We're a soul that has a body, not a body that has a soul.
Yep.
So, you know, just give us, if you were going to tell somebody, what are the top 5 things, you know, the secret to success or finding your purpose or your destiny? In your opinion, what are the top 5 things?
I think number 1 would be the attitude of gratitude, being thankful for what you have instead of being angry for what you do not have. Being born without limbs for no medical reason, a lot of bullying, a lot of teasing, feeling like I'm not going to have a job, not going to be independent, never get married, never have a kid. I mean, now I'm a father of a boy, Kiyoshi.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
How old? 4 days?
He's now 4 days.
4
yeah.
days. Man.
So we're seeing him tonight. I just flew in here, and so really, really exciting. And you know, I used to be worried about how I'm going to hold my wife's hand. Well, I don't need hands to hold her heart. And when you have that perspective and the attitude of gratitude of knowing that every day is a gift and to never take it for granted, our family, you know, when was the last time we hugged each other? When was the last time you actually said, I love you, or I'm proud of you? Don't wait for your kids to do something good before you're proud of them. Right. You know, we're all a work in progress. So first of all would be attitude of gratitude.
Right.
Number 2 is courage.
Courage.
We all know that courage, as Zig also knew, and he shared it with the world. Courage is not an absence of fear. And so in my life, we had to do it afraid. You know, my parents had to live their life not knowing exactly the answers of the rational and irrational fears. Not only like what life is it going to have, but oh my goodness, like what about this, what about that? And the irrational fears in my life, I'm thinking I'm always going to be alone, I'm always going to look like an alien, I'm never going to get a job, I'm never, you know, all that stuff. And so deciphering through between the truths, what can you assess and try change that you can change and accept the things that you can't change in a serenity prayer, right? And then
Right.
God giving you the wisdom to differentiate between the two. So number 2 is courage. Number 3 is dreaming big. I think a lot of people limit their success in their life because of, I mean, I could speak on 5 points just on this point.
Go ahead.
But I mean, it's not about what you have. It's not about where you come from. Your past will not define your future. It's you. It's your courageous attempts in trying something new. It's trying again when you fail. So resilience. That's number 5. And what point was that?
Number 3.
That was number. Wait. Number 1 was attitude of gratitude.
Courage.
Courage. Number 2. This was dream big.
Dream big.
Dream big. Number 4 is to never give up. The resilience factor. And so in my parents' life, they didn't know what kind of life I was going to have, but they overcame their fear. They were thankful for what I did have, and they did their best and told me God would do the rest. And they always taught me, God will do the rest. All you can do is your best. And that just gave me a great perspective in life, to just not worry about what the world thinks of me, to know that I don't know what I can achieve until I try it. If I fail, try again. If it's meant to be achieved, if I'm meant to be a successful speaker, it's going to happen in the perfect time. If not, I must believe that God has something better. He's not going to waste a day of my life. He's not going to waste one talent that He's given me, or gift, or dream, or passion. It's just my life has been full of surprises. It's not like you come to this place and say, okay, now I made it. 2 years ago, actually, I went through a depression. I share it in my new book, Unstoppable. Right. And I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep, I had panic attacks, my hair was falling out. It was just really, really difficult time of my life. And no matter who we are, no matter what success we have behind, that success doesn't determine the future success either. Just because you were successful yesterday or last year or last 10 years, there are a lot of variables. However, if you stick to these 5 principles, number 1, attitude of gratitude, having courage, number 3, dreaming big, number 4, never giving up, and then the 5th one for me is the game changer, faith, F-A-I-T-H, full assurance in the heart. To believe in something you do not see, that's faith. I do believe with all my heart that I was created by God for a greater purpose. I do believe that if I was only alive for 90 years and only created for 90 years, what a depressing life. But if right?
Yeah.
But if I was born without arms and legs, to live a limited life here, temporary life of 90 years, to share with people a message of hope that encourages them to believe in an eternal life where there will be no more death, no more sickness, no more disease, no more evil, nothing but beauty and God and holiness and perfection. That to me is worth it. And when you have these 5 things into perspective, you realize something. It's not about me.
Right.
It's not about you. It's knowing that when we want something, thinking that that's going to give us happiness, when we don't get that miracle, we can still be a miracle for someone else. See, I wanted arms and legs. But imagine if God gave me arms and legs. You know, I've seen blind people seeing and deaf people hearing. I've seen the supernatural. Mm-hmm. Something supernatural happened in my spine. A hole that should not have been closed up in my spinal cord closed up.
Wow.
And so that's a miracle. It's a supernatural miracle. I've seen miracles. But if I got arms and legs at age 8, no one would believe the miracle, and I probably wouldn't be a speaker. I don't need arms and legs. What do you need? What do you think you need? You don't need that anymore. You know what you need? You need peace, truth, purpose, love, forgiveness, and eternal life.
That's right.
And I'm the richest man. If I've got those things, what else do I want? So I am living a life without limits, And it's not about how much success you have. It's about knowing the truth and taking one day at a time.
You know, I just, of course, we know exactly where Dad is.
Absolutely.
Right?
We're going to see him.
Yeah, we're going to see him in the blink of an eye.
Can't wait.
And one of the strengths of his presentation was, you know, his dad died when he was 5. He grew up in the Depression. He had to work for everything. He was in the part of the class that made the top half possible. And because of that, so many people identified with him. And because they identified with him, they were willing to try something that he suggested. And I think because of your love and the way you come across and the challenges that you face, people all over identify with you. And that gives them that little bit of courage to say, you know what, maybe I'm going to try what Nick has to say.
That's it. If Nick can do it, you can do it. And not to say that I'm going through any more pain than anybody else. Losing a loved one, I think, is worse than having no arms, no legs, honestly. For me, brokenness is brokenness, pain is pain, but hope is hope. And you can find that hope in greater purpose in your life.
Well, Nick, it's been awesome having you here. I know you've got an incredibly busy schedule. We're going to be praying for your son, Kiyoshi?
Yes.
Kiyoshi.
Thank you.
Well, Kiyoshi, here's a message for you. If Dad were here, if my dad were here, and he was looking at you, he would say this. He would say, Kiyoshi, you are a winner, created by God for incredible things. Well, is there anything you want to close us up with?
I love that. Well, what a beautiful closing. I can't close it any better than that.
All right.
I just want to thank you so much and thank your family and Ziegler Corporation for all your love and all your time with me and the friendship we've had. I really appreciate it, and who the Ziegler Corporation is, they are on stage, off stage. And I just want to thank you so much for your love and honoring me with this opportunity.
Well, you're in our prayers. You've made a huge impact in our family and in our company.
Thank you.
We talk about you often. When you've been to the office, you fill that place with love. And when you leave, we can just feel the essence of it. So we're praying for you and your wife and Kiyoshi and all the things, that God would bless you.
Thank you.
And give you a safe journey and allow you to be the difference maker in other people's lives.
Awesome. Amen.
Amen.
Love you.
Love you, man. This is the Ziegler Legacy series. We have more coming. Thank you for joining us.
Bye-bye.
I tell you what, when I think about that day and that interview, you know, it just continues to amaze me. No matter where you are in the world, you know, Nick has a worldwide audience, and when we have a webcast like this with the Ziegler Legacy series, we'll have 40 or 50 different countries show up to be a part of it. But I want you to think about this. You know, we talk about that we're all on this journey. We're on this journey from survival to stability to success to significance. You know, the goal, our dream, is we want to be significant in life. And I just want to share just kind of an insight with you. You see, we're in the survival mode in our life when we don't know who we are, what we're supposed to be, do, or have, what our purpose is, who do we want to become. And as we discover that, as that is revealed to us and we seek out those answers, then we move to stability. And we move from stability to success when we work on the things that allow us to be, do, and have more, when we put the plans in action. We know who we are, and we start working on these things. But the blessing of Nick, the thing that I see with him is he shows us, no matter your circumstance, no matter where you're from, you can live a life of significance. And here's the key. You see, success is when you personally be, do, and have things, right? You know, it could be financial, it could be all these different areas. But significance is when you help someone else become all God created them to become. You see, no matter your circumstance, you have the ability to be significant no matter where you are. That's the huge takeaway that I get from Nick. God loves you just the way you are. He created you for a purpose, and you can be significant no matter the circumstances that you find yourself in. And it's hard sometimes, but when we see Nick and we hear a lesson like his, a life story like his, you know, the recognition that it hasn't been easy, that he hasn't always had a great attitude, that he's even gone through a period of depression, that gives us all hope that these things, these circumstances are temporary, but the one we have hope in is eternal. So as you are part of the Ziegler Legacy series, we're going to bring to you more authors, more speakers, more influencers, more people who've made an impact in the world.
I'm Tom
carrying
Ziegler. I'm the
forward
proud
Dad's philosophy, carrying forward all the things that he is about. So what I want to do right now is, this is kind of a bonus. I want you to know that we're going to be sending everybody who's registered an email. And on that email, it's going to talk about, we're going to do a rebroadcast. We're going to set some dates not too far in the future where we're going to rebroadcast this webcast. And I want to recruit you. I want you to help me spread this message of hope and encouragement, because all you need to do is take that email and send it to your friends and people who you care about, people who you think would benefit from Nick's message. And they'll be able to watch the rebroadcast of this webcast completely free on their own schedule, on their own time. So that's just an incredible thing. And let's get not just thousands, let's get hundreds of thousands of people touched by this message. Well, as I was doing research and background for this particular broadcast, I found another video of Nick. And in this one, it shows the story of Nick, and there's an early interview and a later interview. This was on Australian TV, and his wife is on there, and you could just see Nick's eyes light up. Because, you know, isn't that incredible that he said, I understood from an early age that I wouldn't be able to hold my wife's hand, but I knew I could hold her heart. Isn't that what significance and love is all about? So I want you to, as we close off, I'm going to give you this bonus little video. I want you to enjoy this and just watch how Nick interacts with his bride and the excitement that he talks about with his new son that's on the way at this point. I'm Tom Ziegler, the CEO of Ziegler Inc. So glad you could join us on this Ziegler Legacy series. Invite your friends. Now enjoy this bonus video.
Every now and again in this job, you meet someone who quite simply makes your spirit soar. That's how I felt when I first met Nick Vujicic. Nick was born in Australia without any arms or legs, yet he lives a life that's more joyful and more fulfilling than most able-bodied people I know. All that was missing from his world was a special lady. Well, 4 years on, Nick is now a married man. Recently, he invited me back to Los Angeles to meet the woman who's made his life complete.
Hey babe, you ever done a backflip before?
No.
No?
Never in my life.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I'm a little nervous now. It's always... Backflips are scary.
Unique is the only word to describe Nick Vujicic and his head-over-heels approach to life.
I can't feel my legs.
Nick was born without arms and legs, and growing up, feared he would have to swim through life alone.
I definitely had doubts that I'd ever get married, that I'd ever meet anybody who would ever love me and spend the rest of their life with me, because I'm Prince Charming with a couple bits and pieces missing. You know, those things were important, you know, and I'd see everybody else has them, so why could I ever compete with all the other guys and ever, you know, find my princess?
Now at 29, Nick's not only found his princess, he's married her, and her name is Kanae.
I feel like a CEO.
To me, it wasn't any different falling in love with Nick. I fell in love with him the way he is now. And so because I had dated other guys and I had gone for the physical and, you know, but I was tired of that. And the moment I met Nick, I was looking for other things. And all those things, I found them in him. So that's when I felt like, wow, you know, he's not only boyfriend material, but he's like, he could be my husband.
Well, you're not your standard issue fellow, are you?
No, not exactly. We actually have gotten a lot of interesting reactions from just people while we were dating and, you know, holding hands and walking side by side. Some even people come up and
Can I
cry.
just ask how you hold hands?
Yeah, right here. We're holding hands right here, and she'd have a hand around me or jump on the back of my wheelchair.
But what sort of reactions would you get?
Well, people would come up and cry and say, now I believe in true love again. There you go.
When I first met Nick in 2008, he was very much a single man, with his signature generosity of spirit and good humour.
No arms, no legs.
No worries, mate.
Then 2 years ago, he and Kanae crossed paths, and it was, without a hint of exaggeration, love at first sight.
The moment I saw him, and I saw his eyes and his smile and just, you know, I thought to myself, oh my gosh, he's so handsome. Like, to me, he's definitely Prince Charming, you know. He might not be perfect in the exterior, but he's a perfect match for me.
It was electric. I mean, when she stood by me, it just felt right.
Is it fair to say that it is the world's most unlikely love story?
You can say that.
What do you think, Nick?
There's a lot of love stories out there, but it's a special one. Very special.
Woo! I'm so glad you're doing it.
I love you.
I love you.
The fact is, just about everything Nick does is special. From falling out of the sky to learning how to surf. He refuses to let his rare condition called phocomelia confine him to a wheelchair. Nick has had to develop a sink or swim approach to life.
When I breathe in, watch this, I'm not paddling. I go up and out, all by breath, right? And I just float.
That is amazing. Just breathe.
Just by laughing.
Do the breathing again.
I'll hold it. And then out.
Fantastic.
There you go. And because I don't have arms and legs to supply oxygen to, I can actually hold my breath longer than the average. 2 minutes, 13 seconds.
It's easy to see why his positive outlook has won Nick a growing legion of admirers. Enthralled by the story of a young boy from Melbourne who did all in his power to turn disadvantage into advantage. Today he's wheeling himself onto the hallowed ground at Dodgers Stadium in Los Angeles.
Nick, 40,000 plus people. Did you get stage right?
No, not these days. After it gets ready these days.
Over 4.5 million have now heard his story.
It doesn't mean I'm not going to cry. It doesn't mean I'll understand everything, but I know he's with me.
A tale of faith, hope, and now love.
There's always been a huge chemistry between the two of us. And sometimes at the beginning, people would say, hey, don't kiss too much. It was shocking to me because it was something that I never felt before.
Ever the romantic, Nick proposed on a yacht in Santa Barbara last year. One potential problem, how to put the ring on her finger. It was solved by Nick's ingenuity. He used his mouth.
I'm going, baby, can I kiss your hand? And I'm going, mwah, 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 but a left hand.
Right.
And I put the ring down her finger all the way. And she's like thinking I'm getting kinky or something. She's like, what are you doing?
Biting my finger.
I'm biting your finger.
And I was like, why is he why is he biting my finger?
So I put it all the way down and I pull back and she sees there's a ring on it. And she just, her face, her big eyes, tears immediately. And I said, baby, I love you. Would you marry me and spend the rest of your life with me? And she just cried.
What about a physical relationship? Was that difficult for you? Is it difficult for you?
You mean intimacy?
Yeah.
No, we're very affectionate people.
Like, you know, sometimes I can't hold his hand all the time, so then I hug him or, you know, so. But he's got everything he needs, you know, I mean, what am I say?
Beautifully answered.
That's
They got married in February this year. Then settled into their house an hour north of Los Angeles, California. From here, Nick has his office where he writes his books and prepares motivational speeches. But as independent as Nick is, he still needs care.
These are my cooking glasses.
Much of it provided by outside help, but a fair bit by Kanaer, who at the age of 24 has now assumed the role of wife and carer.
It was a part of the deal. I mean, she saw how it came with the package. So she knew how I would function with caregivers, and we knew that would change somewhat, quite a lot, as to how much, but she was ready for that challenge, and I was amazed at her love, and yeah.
If you ever have a crossword, then things might change. And then you've got to switch from wife to, hey, I need you to shave me, or I need you to feed me. How does that work?
Well, you know what? I don't know, because we've only been married for maybe 7 months, and we haven't had an argument yet. So it's like, yeah, it will come. It's like we're still in our honeymoon, you know. But honestly, no, that hasn't happened yet. So when it happens, I'll let you know.
You can have your dinner later.
Is that right?
Yeah. Oh, jeez. How heavy are you?
4 years ago, Nick was characteristically candid about his desire to find true love and maybe become a parent.
I love you, Peter.
Kids one day?
Absolutely. Yeah, medically, I can have kids. Well, I'm not going to be pregnant, but yeah. But, yeah, I see kids definitely in my life. Yeah, I can't wait to be a father.
Well, it was just the two of us on the beach that day. Now, 4 years on, there's a third. And, would you believe it, soon to be a fourth.
Clearly, you're a happier man.
Very, very happy, and actually we're sharing something else, a great joy that we're very much looking forward to. We're pregnant.
Fantastic.
We're pregnant. So, a son Kiyoshi's on the way.
Tell us about your little boy you're having.
Well, let me tell you, it was a big surprise for us. We always said, oh, you know, we're gonna wait 2 years before we have kids, and you know, it happened. And this is our baby. It was 15 weeks, right? Now it's 17 weeks, but it was 15 weeks when we were there, and we could see everything. Both of his hands, both of his feet, his brain.
So there's his little hands.
Yeah.
But was there a worry or a concern from the doctors, and a genuine concern from yourselves, that perhaps your little one could be born without limbs?
Well, medically speaking, there's a even smaller chance. The chance that this happened to me, it'll be even smaller, because it's not genetic or anything like that. Did it cross our minds? Absolutely. Was I relieved when I saw the 10 fingers and 10 toes? Absolutely. It was just a joy, you know. Love you.
If there is anyone in this world who deserves to find happiness, it's Nick Vujicic. He's overcome huge challenges in his life, and no doubt there are more to come. But for Nick and Kanaer, life right now is pretty good.
4 years ago, we sat on this beach here in Malibu and we talked about your dreams and hopes for the future. And it seems they've come true.
Here we are. It's amazing. Why not? Our dreams do come true. And she's the greatest dream that's ever come true for me. Yeah.
I'm Tom Ziegler, proud son of Zig Ziglar, CEO of Ziglar. Thank you so much for joining us on the Ziglar Legacy series. Once again, I hope you are inspired by Nick and his story and his journey and his message of hope and encouragement. And I encourage you now to tell others about this series, about Nick's program that we just aired. We're going to be rebroadcasting it. Let the world know. Let your friends know. Once again, we're sending you an email that you can pass along. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Ziglar Legacy Series.